Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today we start our walk in front of this cottage. This cottage has been made into a monument in this town because it is one of the cottages that Van Gogh painted, and he actually painted the aardappeleaters. If you go look for that painting, it was the family of de Groot that was sitting inside this cottage. And there are a lot of cottages that look like this around town that he used to paint. Some of them have been made monuments and some of them have not. But basically, in this town, Van Gogh actually painted a quarter of his works, and the town also honored him by creating a monument. I'm walking towards the monument now. And it got me thinking just how much, if you start creating things in life, sometimes you don't even get recognized until you're gone, which is quite sad. But this is the monument that Van Gogh has been honored with for his time that he spent here with his family, painting and basically perfecting his art. Today I'd like to talk to you about the 5-step system that actually builds wealth. And for each of the steps that I'll be mentioning, you should rather think about them as habits that you can build in order to build your wealth. And following them in a sequence that kind of helps you to build that habit into a system, that's when you really start stacking up your habits in order to make sure that you can rely on the previous habit that you've already built to build your wealth. So most people think that building wealth is all about doing one thing and doing that one thing really well, whether it be saving up a whole lot. That's why you find a whole lot of savings advice. Some people use the little money bags. Some people go on another type of savings. I even created the transition fund saving, for example. But it's not only about that. You can't just focus on one thing. Other people will go and try to earn as much as they can. They will work as hard as they can in order to earn as much as they can. And then others will follow a different strategy, whether it be only investing and choosing the best stocks that will work for them. But building wealth is about creating a lot of different opportunities for yourself and then stacking them together. So in this video, let's talk about 5 steps that actually work to help you build wealth. The first step is to create the 1% daily habit that will increase your income. To put it short, you basically just have to come up with something that you can do that will increase your ability to earn more by 1%. So if you are running a business, look at everything that you have in your business and set it up in a way that you can improve 1% on a daily basis. If you're improving that one thing, chances are that you're going to spot others that you can improve over time. So on a daily basis, you can go on improving and improving till your business is running smoothly. If you are not running a business and you are just employed with a 9-to-5 and you are looking to make more money in other ways, not only at your 9-to-5, first you can look at gaining a skill that will give you that edge so that you can become of more value and the service that you provide or the knowledge that you have is more valuable. And every day, just improve just 1% of yourself, your business, or the systems around you in order to make sure that you can earn more, you are more valuable to your society, and that you can basically work on it for the rest of your life. And the thing about just working on 1%, the 1% compounds. It doesn't stay 1%. Every day when you're adding more and more, you are building something that when you look back over the years, it has become so much bigger than when you started, because you are always looking for something that you can improve. So the first one is the daily 1% income habit. If you master this habit, you will see compounding effects throughout your life. if you want to implement this, all you need to do is block about 15 minutes in your calendar to look over a particular area of your life that you want to improve. And then simply look how it went throughout the previous day and try to improve better on it. And you can use this really in all areas of your life, including perhaps your relationships and your business, your personal life. Anyway, if you want a healthier body, all you need to do is do something that will be better than yesterday by 1%. So you have something for the daily. The second is actually to have a weekly review of your finances. You're having a weekly review because it builds on to what you did during the week with the 1% daily habit that you have built. So on every week, you just come back and have a look. What worked this week? You have a meeting by yourself for about 30 minutes. What worked this week? What was the real energy drainers and the real fund drainers this week? How can I improve it going forward? And if you are saying that you want to perhaps save a bit more, what can you cut back on? What did you spend more money on? What were the surprises that you had to deal with? The sources of income that you have. Do you only have one source of income? How can you multiply that source of income to make it more? And you just make a complete review of your total finances. And in order to do this, I generally use the Wealth Suite. And I use the Wealth Suite because it becomes easy for me to see exactly what happened throughout the week. I take the Wealth Suite, I look at my sources of income. Did they work well? Are there any that need modification? If I need to sell some of the shares that I have because perhaps they are not performing well because of the current economic situation, or are there any other items that I need to cut back on my expenses within my assets? Should I focus more on creating better opportunities where I can buy more assets that will multiply my wealth going forward? I use the Wealth Suite for all of this. If you would like a copy of the Wealth Suite, you can find a description in the link below where you will be able to purchase it, and you can contact me in order to help you fill it out or to help you basically set it up for yourself. If at all, if you have downloaded the Wealth Suite and you need any form of help in order to set it up, please do contact me by just sending me a message on here down below. Comment down below. I read all of the comments that come through and I will help you set it up. So this weekly habit works because you keep yourself accountable on a shorter time frame. You don't wait until the end of the month in order to review all your finances. You do it immediately when you still have a memory of what you actually did with your money, and it is not such a stretch from what actually happened, and you can basically track it through your bank account versus what is in your what you have written down in your Wealth Suite. And if you want to stay consistent with this, simply decide that you are going to do it for about 20 minutes every week. Decide on a place where you will do it. Decide on a trigger that will help you to just get on with it, and it will be easier for you to basically do it. For example, if you decide you're going to do it weekly, you decide every Sunday on just after breakfast, while the day has not really caught up with everybody else, I will sit for 20 minutes, review all of the finances that happened this week, really engage with myself to see what opportunities I left on the table where I could have basically taken advantage of that opportunity to build my wealth. What gaps are there in my finances where you can actually come up with solutions to make sure that you are still building wealth and covering up those gaps? What risks you see, and how you can basically bulletproof your wealth system for the future. The third habit to build is to automate your savings. Yes, I have talked about savings a lot on the channel. I've said that you should focus on making more money and not only focus on savings, because savings are basically the basics. They are the basics. And if you can automate the basics and the essentials, you're taking just one thing off of your plate. If you can automate your savings, knowing just how much comes into your bank account, how much you need in order to live, and how much should actually be put aside for your savings, you are much better off knowing that it will happen automatically. Doesn't matter what happens at that point of the month, this much will come out of your salary or your bank account to go into your savings pot. And it should be a pot that you actually cannot touch. And to make it such, just take a 30-day notice account. There are savings accounts that don't need you to wait for 30 days before you take anything out of them. But for this to actually work for you, automate into a savings account that will create friction for you to actually grab from it, that will protect you from yourself. Because if you have something that is protecting you from you, you are much better off. You know that your savings are actually growing, even without you putting that much effort into them. So if you want to become consistent with this, basically choose a system that automates immediately when you get paid. If you're running a business, you know how much your expenses are. So automation should be basically very easy. If there's an overflow for that month into the business, don't start thinking about how to improve your business immediately. Rather, think about how can I save this up for a bit, and then within the next month, it will be enough for me to actually improve the business in a meaningful way. So take savings that are going to be automatic and they are going to happen immediately. Hello, love. Are you awake now? This little one is awake now. Okay, start heading back home. Yesterday, I started off talking about point number 3, the step number 3 that you can follow in order to basically build your wealth. My daughter woke up and I stopped recording, so I would like to continue today. That's step number 3, to automate so that you don't have a lot of friction in building your wealth, is actually an important step. I used it all my life. I've automated all my savings, and when I have a particular saving that I want to focus on, then I create it manually so that I make sure that it is handled every month, and I set up reminders to actually handle it. But automation is not only about the money side, it's also about the lifestyle that you have. When you automate certain things within your life, it makes it easier. It takes off the load from you. And back to the money side, when you automate, don't forget to make sure that you know what the intention of those things are. So you could be saving but not knowing what exactly you're saving for, or you could be investing and you forget the goal. You forget the goal of why you're investing, how much you want to see your investments grow. And I read an article yesterday and it really made sense. It said that parents have a higher chance of actually growing their wealth because they always want to see themselves being able to take care of the next generation, their children. When they're not there, they want to make sure that their children are still well taken care of. And when you have that goal in mind, it could be at the back of your mind. But if you are actively looking forward to something that is so strong, taking care of your kids, it is so strong, it motivates you to work harder. It motivates you to look at the expenses that you are making every time and make sure that you actually cut down. And it motivates you to make investments that are wise and will basically benefit not only you but your future generation. It's an automation that should not take anything away from you, because if you're managing that every month, chances are at some point you will want to basically just, you might forget, you might not be able to get to it on time, or other priorities might come up, and you would think that, okay, let me take care of this little priority this month. Next month I will go back to saving or making sure that I'm taking care of the future for my kids. Automate in a smart way. Automate in a way that you will not go back and borrow from your future. The fourth step is to pause before you actually spend. So the previous step helped to basically stopgap the leak from happening. When you automate your savings, you make sure that the leak doesn't happen. But this one is to make sure that the money doesn't even leave the account in the first place. Stop, think about what you're doing. Perhaps put a 30-day pause before you actually buy that item. I have an example of a recent purchase that I made. I totally failed the Black Friday test. I bought and bought and bought. I totally failed the Black Friday test. I purchased a lot of gear for my content creation setup. Some of it, when I'm thinking about, I'm not even going to use it till I get back from the next trip that we're going on. So I could buy it then, not now. I might not even use that gear because I actually like the way that I'm creating right now. So pause. If you are able to, put those things in a basket on the website that you are shopping from, and then leave it, think about it for a day, a week, or a month if you're able to put it off for that long. And only if you really, really, really need that item, then purchase it. There's a lot of items that become clutter in our homes because we bought them on impulse. I'm a big culprit of that. And we bought them thinking of the person that you want to be, the person that you want to become. I have another item that I imported from the US. It's a juicer, and I haven't had any chance since I've been pregnant and also after giving birth to actually use that juicer. I want to become a healthier person. I want to be to eat more healthy, and looking at everybody online, of course, becoming healthy. I can see myself doing those steps. I can see myself becoming healthy by using that juicer. But when it comes to it, I haven't touched it. If I'm looking at return on investment, I can say that I haven't had any much return on my investment. I have probably used 2% of its worth. My point is, get into that step of basically making sure that you pause before you buy. You can implement this by putting a hold on the basket, or by making sure that you have a very low limit on your bank account. With a low limit, then you know that you have to first go into your bank account, make the limit higher, and then buy. It adds a bit of friction. So don't leave a very high limit on your bank account. That has helped me in a lot of instances. And in order to change the limit, for some banks, I know that you have to basically give a 24-hour notice. That might help for you to actually create that yourself if they don't have it. Give yourself a 24-hour notice that I'm going to need this much to be spending, and then only spend it when it is available after those 24 hours. If any of the website that you are using don't have that pause function and you still see the basket, you could also create like a notes app where you have a pause list. You write all the items that you want to buy in that list, and then you come back and say after a week, do I still want to buy this or not? That also kind of keeps a buffer between you spending immediately and basically putting it out. I hope that you are able to implement this fourth step in your own life. Going into 2026, we can't be spending frivolously and then regretting it afterwards. The fifth step is to have an overall monthly wealth and earnings checkup. And I like doing this personally using the Wealth Suite, because on the Wealth Suite then I can check what happened throughout the month. I can see how my wealth is growing, what my earnings and income did to basically secure a brighter future, to grow my generational wealth. And I get very excited. So with these 5 steps, you have something on the daily, on the weekly, something automated, and a pause whenever you want to spend. And a pause whenever you're thinking of spending on frivolous items. And then you wrap it all up at the end of the month by checking in to make sure that you have set up all your finances in a good way. And with that, for my 5th step, I basically sit down not only by myself, I also sit down with my husband to discuss items that need to be taken care of, if there's more contribution to be made towards our shared account, or when I'm thinking about making purchases that I know are going to be very high for myself, then I think about how I can save up, put a pause on them, or basically spend on it later when I have a bit more that I feel free enough to spend. A lot of the times I love investing. So at that point, I also check on my investments. I prefer not checking on my investments every day because I invest for the long term. I don't buy stocks that are going to be performing very well in the short term so that I can take out the profits. That's another style of investing. There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't do that. I like investing over a period of about 3 to 4 years, and then once I've reached growth of more than 700%, then I take those funds out, and then I see how else I can invest them in other companies. I can either invest them in other companies, or I start investing in my own comforts if it's suitable. So yeah, every month do a wealth check for yourself. Be self-critical of how much you have spent. Be self-critical of how much your wealth has grown. Identify opportunities that you can now take if you have a larger sum. Identify opportunities that will grow your amounts bigger than you currently can by yourself. Hello, chatty person. Okay. Yeah. So with that, I'd like to say that thank you for joining me on this one, and I'll see you on the next one.